With my gloves out there, right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I cannot hear you. Should I be able to hear you?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
He just walked out.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
2 minutes on the
Okay. What do I do with my gloves? Exact me. There it is.
Ready?
Wait, do you have mine? Great. Battery just in case.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How's it going? Welcome to Snow Desk. Just before we get started, just wanted to remind everyone that we'll be answering some questions after the broadcast. So please submit your questions via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can see all of those sources up on the screen. And if you take any photos of your class during the Snow Desk broadcast, feel free to send them to us and share those photos using the hashtag SnowDesk 2017.
That's right. We'd love to see them. Okay, well, welcome students to Snow Desk, the show from the snow in Grand Teton National Park. My name is Ranger Kristen.
I'm Ranger Veronica.
And keep an eye out in the background for, she's doing the moonwalk. That's Ranger Julie.
Okay.
She's our field ranger, and she's she's the fun part of the show.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Silly too.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for her acting things out in the background throughout the broadcast. We are coming to you live from Moose, Wyoming in Grand Teton National Park. And it's pretty cold out here today. It's saying 24 degrees on our thermometer here. And so if you see us shivering, you will understand why. We are actually sitting at a desk made out of about 4 feet of snow. We're sitting on a bench made of snow. We're surrounded by 4 feet of snow here in Moose.
That's a lot of snow.
I think Julie's going to show us how tall 4 feet is. I mean, let's be honest, that's close to as tall as Ranger Julie.
Yeah, I'm sure taller than a lot of our viewers out there.
Quite possibly,
Who
yes.
knows? Excellent. So as my wonderful co-anchor mentioned, we are in Grand Teton National Park, but where is that exactly?
Oh, good question.
We're going to pull up a little map right here in just a minute. You can see that red star is where we are located out in northwestern Wyoming.
Gosh, I bet there's people tuning in from all over that map.
Oh, yeah. So many places. I wonder. So a little bit more about Grand Teton. As Kristen mentioned, it's pretty cold out here. It's 24 degrees, maybe dropping. I don't know what's happening in wintertime. But in the past 24 hours, we've had quite the different kinds of weather.
Yes.
It was kind of sunny outside. It's kind of clouding over, but we had snow last night. So we get a lot of different kind of winter weather here in northwestern Wyoming.
No doubt.
But I wonder where the weather is like where all of our viewers are tuning in from.
I bet there's some places much warmer than this.
Much sunnier.
It wouldn't be that hard.
Or it's actually springtime.
Yeah, maybe it's springtime in some of those places. There might be some other snowy places out there tuning in.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Solidarity. Love it. Great. So let's get down to talking more about Grand Teton. So Grand Teton National Park is one of 414 special places set aside by the National Park Service to be preserved and protected forever. Forever is a pretty long time, and it's for a good reason. These special places protect really important pieces of America's history, culture, and things like nature and the environment. So they're pretty special to us. Places like the Grand Canyon. I'm sure many of our viewers have heard of the Grand Canyon. The Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, yeah. Bet you didn't know that was a Park Service site.
That's so iconic. I didn't know.
Yeah. Even the Statue of Liberty. So tons of places out there, 414 to go out and explore and learn about that tell us really important stories that we want to preserve forever.
Absolutely. So today you've just tuned into one of those. Grand Teton National Park was created to protect these beautiful mountains, which normally you would see behind us, but it's a little cloudy today. So you can't see them today, but they are there. So to protect the beautiful scenery here, and also a huge variety of wildlife. We have small animals. We have some of the largest animals in North America. And for this huge diversity of wildlife to live here, they're going to have to figure out a way to survive winter. So let's think about what winter is like here in Grand Teton National Park.
Great idea, Ranger Kristen.
Really starting to get the idea. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is that it's kind of dark, like long nights, short days. The sun's kind of low in the sky.
Definitely.
So it's kind of a dark time.
Yeah, today is the first day I've seen the sun in what feels like years.
Yeah, and now it's gone. So
one thing that I can think of is that it's really hard to find food here in the wintertime.
Oh, sure.
Of course, we can go to the grocery store.
We're good. Yeah.
We're all set. But if you are an animal out here in Grand Teton National Park, if you look around, I see a lot of snow.
Yep.
See not a lot of food available.
No, it'd be tough
because it's buried underneath all that snow.
Yep.
So just to give you some idea, up in the mountains, we get an average of 400 inches of snow per year in the mountains. And I think we've already surpassed that. We have more than, 450 inches?
Something like that, yeah.
Geez, that's
quite a winner.
The height of a 3-story building.
Yeah. Gosh, I wonder if some of the students tuning in are like in a 1-story building or something.
Yeah.
And so if they could imagine 3 of their schools stacked on top of each other.
Oh, geez. Be covered in snow.
Yeah. So a lot of snow. And it's also always really cold here in the winter. 24 degrees, that's not anything super extreme for us.
Right.
Our record low temperature actually was negative 63 degrees Fahrenheit.
Boy, That's colder than the inside of a freezer.
Way colder, yeah.
Wow.
We haven't seen anything quite that cold lately, but we have seen some negative 30-degree temperatures this winter. So
that's true.
cold enough.
Mm-hmm.
Cold enough.
Yeah. Winters here can also be very long. We like to joke that sometimes they last up to 8 months, 6 to 8 months. But in fact, it's no joke.
It's not really a joke.
It's actually real. So there's a lot of winter to endure if you live out here in Wyoming.
It's true. I mean, I can't even really remember what summer's like.
It's a distant memory. So now after we painted that wonderful picture of winter in Wyoming, I wonder if any of our viewers would like to join us and move to Grand Teton National Park. Shout out, maybe we can hear you from across America.
Anybody?
Anybody?
Julie's excited about it.
Ranger Julie.
Maybe that's it. Maybe there's some people excited about winter.
Yeah, who knows? Great. So we've talked about winter. We set the stage for winter. Now we're going to talk about some animals. And of course, there are some animals that aren't particularly prepared to survive in such hard, harsh winter climates.
Yeah.
So they have to deal with winter in their own sort of ways. So I'm thinking of an animal, maybe a bear, for example.
Oh, yeah.
That actually deals with winter by sleeping through the whole winter. Kind of like Ranger Julie's getting a little sleepy.
Is she?
They actually hibernate. So that word is hibernate when you sleep all winter long.
I think she's hibernating.
I think she is too. Maybe we should keep our voices down there.
I guess she's going to try to sleep all winter.
Or maybe we should wake her up! Because she's not a bear.
No, you don't hibernate.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds nice sometimes, but I also like being awake.
Yeah.
Being awake is nice. Great. So there are other animals like the pronghorn antelope who deal with winter in other ways. They actually just get out of town. They migrate away. So we have pronghorn antelope here in the summertime, but they'll get out of here, get to some warmer climates where there's more food available to them.
Yeah.
So there's hibernation, there is migration, but we're not going to talk about those animals today.
Nope.
We're actually going to talk about the animals who are so rough and tough that they stick it out here to the winter,
right here.
in the winter, through the winter. We're talking about the animals who stay right here in Grand Teton National Park.
The resistors.
The resistors, they resist. What's life like for them? Let's explore that concept a little bit. I kind of like to compare their lives to maybe an Olympic snowshoe race. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Chariots of fire. So during a snowshoe race, athletes have to deal with snow. Here's some snow. The cold, the wind. In order to compete in this race.
It's true. And not only are they having to worry about all the cold and the snow, they have to worry about the other racers, which I'm not entirely sure where Julie's other competitors are. But like an animal has to compete for things like food and water and shelter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. To win a race, you have to be really prepared. You have to be strong and determined to win, or in this case, survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you survive, that's kind of like winning a gold medal. It's like winning the race, right? And check that out.
Ranger Julie back there just won winter.
Good job, Ranger Julie. Round of applause.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Round of applause.
You deserve a break.
Maybe some hot cocoa. But unlike humans who can just go inside, kick up their feet, drink a hot cup of cocoa, animals actually have to stay outside. They stay out in the cold, kind of braving the elements every day, every day.
Yeah, it's true. So I'm beginning to wonder, if I'm being honest, how animals can make this work. How does anything possibly survive winter in Grand Teton National Park?
Oh, right. Yeah, I understand your concern, but they have a great idea. They actually change, Ranger Kristen, believe it or not. They change or adapt to survive through the winter.
Oh, adaptation.
Adaptation.
I get it.
There you go.
That makes sense. So animals can make these adaptations or changes in 3 different ways. And if anyone there wants to kind of follow along with our motions throughout the broadcast, here they are. Animals can change how they look, strike a pose. They can change where they live, shelter, or they can change what they eat. Awesome. So those are the 3 ways that they can change. And like I said, if you want to join in with those motions, that'd be a fun way to participate.
Feel free. Great. So maybe let's focus on how animals change the way that they look. It's easier than you might think. So maybe some people tuning in today had to put on a warm winter coat this morning before they went to work or went to school.
I bet they did.
Yeah, I personally had to put on 17 layers.
Wow,
Just
17.
Kidding. Just kidding.
I
think I'm only wearing like 4 layers today.
Yeah.
How many layers are you wearing?
I think I have 3, including this pretty puffy coat.
Yeah, that's a nice one. So, yeah, so even people have to change, what they wear during the winter time. Yeah, and some animals that do this, one that comes to mind is the American bison. So the best way for it to get ready for wintertime is to actually put on a warm winter coat. They are an excellent example of this. And kind of, oh, wait a sec.
What?
Wait, be very still. What's happening? Is that a bison? Oh my gosh. Oh,
it's Ranger Julie.
It's only Ranger Julie wearing the stylish bison coat.
Wow. What are you wearing today?
This is my favorite bison pelt. It's really warm.
Oh. You look very warm.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy too.
Hey, do you want to maybe share that pelt with us over here?
We could use that here at Snow Dust.
We're sitting on snow.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
maybe next year when it's out of fashion.
Yeah. Maybe next season we'll get it at the bargain bin.
It's never out of fashion.
We can only great. Yeah, so that thick warm winter coat, it's keeping Ranger Julie pretty warm, and it's only going to keep a real bison even warmer. So great. Another animal that changes the way that it looks in the wintertime is the bull moose. So a male moose, they change the way they look by dropping their giant antlers off of their head before winter comes. So, Ranger Julie, are you okay? It looks like you're having
That looks really heavy.
It is really heavy. My neck's having a hard time keeping this up.
Wow. Well, Julie, if you didn't hear what I just said, it's wintertime, so you can actually just shed that antler. You don't need it during wintertime.
You think I can just drop it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what the moose do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how do you feel now?
Ooh, like I lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, you did.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's right. So in order to conserve energy and not have to carry 50 pounds, pressure on your shoulders and necks and things like that, the bull moose actually just shed their antlers before the wintertime comes, which is pretty smart if you ask me.
It's a good way to conserve energy.
Yeah, great. Last but not least, an animal that is an expert at changing the way it looks in the wintertime is the long-tailed weasel. So this creature actually changes the color of its fur for the wintertime, which is pretty neat.
That is cool.
So you might not believe this, but it doesn't always look like this year-round in Grand Teton National Park. Remember that one summer day we get a year?
Kind of.
Yeah, well, maybe we can pull up a picture to remind ourselves what it used to look like once upon a time.
Look, it's so green and beautiful.
So much greenery, so much sagebrush, maybe even some dirt. Wow,
I forgot that we have sagebrush.
Yeah, it's a rare treat these days. Right, so it doesn't always look this snowy. So in order for animals to survive in both seasons, they can change the color of their fur. So weasels do this like experts. So we're going to pull up a shot of some weasel pelts for you.
Ooh,
I bet that our viewers can guess which one is best suited for winter, which one is best suited for summer.
Yeah, I bet they could figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. So of course the brown weasel is going to be for the summertime. Blend into that nice, green brown kind of color scheme, and the white is going to do wonders in wintertime.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it at all in the snow.
Yeah, so
it's pretty smart.
So smart. Great. So, okay, we learned about how animals change the way that they look. But maybe you can think to yourself, viewers out there, if you were an animal here in Grand Teton National Park, what would you rather be? What would you rather do to survive in the winter?
Oh.
Would you rather change the way, change the color of your fur? Would you rather shed your large moose antlers? Or would you rather put on a nice warm coat like the bison? Which one would you pick, Ranger Kristen?
I really like the idea of camouflage.
Oh,
I mean,
super cool.
Imagine being able to change what color you are from season to season.
And just stay still and blend in?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How about you?
One of my favorite animals is the American bison. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with that,
Warm coat's a smart
Nice warm
thing.
coat. Well,
Yeah.
I'm used to it. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. We already kind of do it. Okay, so next we're going to explore some ways that animals change where they live. And this one's actually kind of a little easier to think about. I wonder how many people there could relate to the idea of moving to a different house, a different neighborhood, maybe even a different country.
I'm sure.
So some of you maybe have had to move in your lifetimes. I know we have. Where are you originally from? Not Wyoming, right?
Oh, no. I am originally from California.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
a ways away. Very
from
different.
here.
Yes. Much less snow. What about you, Ranger Kristen?
Oh, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, yeah. Super different
Pretty
as well.
pretty far from here as well. So we kind of know what that's like. It kind of changes your whole life when you move, right? You have to start somewhere brand new. Well, every winter for some animals around here, their neighborhood gets snowy and white, and so they kind of have to think about how they're going to change where they live, right? So for those animals, it's really kind of all about location, right? Because they, what are these people doing? What are you doing?
I'm putting on my Hawaiian shirt and getting a palm tree out because didn't you just say vacation?
No. I said location. Remember, we're just talking about the animals that stay here, not the ones that migrate.
Oh.
Although going someplace tropical does seem like a really great idea.
I mean, we're not going to Hawaii?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, I guess I'll just save my
Sorry.
Hawaiian shirt for later.
I know. We're gonna stay here for now. And remember, there's some animals that have to stay here and stick it out, but they still kind of have to change where they live.
Mm-hmm.
And for those animals, they basically have two options. Those animals could choose to live on top of the snow, which of course is kind of a natural thing, like a person would live on top of the snow,
Ranger
right?
Julie lives on top of the
Ranger
snow.
Julie. And the animal could also choose to live underneath the snow. Where is she?
What did she just
She just completely
dive underneath the snow?
disappeared. I wonder
Did she camel? I don't know.
if they saw where she went. I have no idea what just happened.
If you can see her, let us know. Shout out to us.
Where
I
did
think I'm
she?
gonna find her.
Ranger Julie. So thinking about why an animal would want to live underneath the snow, because that seems like a weird thing to do.
Very nice.
From what I understand, I mean, it's like 25 right now up here. It's a pretty constant 32 degrees underneath the snow.
Oh, right, with insulation.
Yeah, so
Okay,
they're like
cool.
always a little bit warmer underneath the snow.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet that if you lived underneath the snow, you'd also be pretty protected from predators.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally hidden. Yeah, that makes sense. And you could also maybe even find some food underneath the snow there, like in the dirt, maybe even other animals, plants, things like that. So there's some advantages to living underneath the snow. And there's some animals like the pocket gopher.
The pocket gopher.
The pocket gopher, which maybe Julie's being a pocket gopher? I'm not sure. They're totally like having to move around in a tunnel underneath the snow all the time. So I guess that's kind of what she's doing there, shoveling the snow. They're constantly moving. In fact, I wonder if anyone there in the classrooms would like to do the pocket gopher shuffle with us. So the pocket gopher shuffle, you have to stand up and kind of like Julie's shoveling, you have to run in place. Run in place. We're doing the pocket gopher shuffle and scene. Nice. Good shuffling. So that actually kind of warmed me up a little bit.
Yeah. Nice and toasty.
Kind of nice. I bet a pocket gopher actually gets warm as it's tunneling underneath the snow all the time as well. And they're nice and insulated under the snow there. So that's a good option for those little guys.
Okay, so I've been thinking. I know that some animals, like the pocket gopher, they're pretty small, live underneath the snow, and they can burrow and things like that. But I was just thinking that not all animals are that small. And so what do they do? I mean, they can't really like fit underneath the snow. So
that's a really good point.
What happens to them?
Yeah, there's some animals that are, of course, just they're too big to live underneath the snow. So for them, living on top of the snow is going to actually come with its own challenges because maybe some of you have had the experience of getting stuck in the snow. It happens to me like daily.
That happened to me yesterday.
Yeah, so that's a lot of work to like move around in all this snow. So animals are going to have to figure out a way to adapt to move on top of the snow as well. And we have one animal that does this really well. I'm thinking of the Canada lynx. The lynx has huge feet, which you can see there, that keeps it on top of the snow, so it can travel really easily on top of the snow. And if you'd like to do a little lynx demonstration with us, you'll have to get out your lynx paws. So put your hand out in front of you and squeeze your hand closely, your fingers closely together. That's like the size of a lynx paw in the summer. So, fairly good size. Yeah. But as the seasons start to change, the lynx will actually grow fur in between each of its toes.
Whoa.
And as that happens, their paw actually kind of gets bigger. So if you can spread your fingers out even wider, as wide as they can go, that's like the size of a lynx paw in the winter.
Wow. That's
incredible. Big. Yeah, absolutely. And I actually think we have an actual fur from a lynx to show you. So you can see what this is like. Look at the comparison between our wonderful tech ranger, Millie, her hand versus the lynx paw. It's like almost the same size. And look how furry it is, too. And you can imagine how soft and warm this lynx's fur is. I mean, talk about an animal that is really well adapted for winter. The lynx is a great example of that. And so for the lynx, it's almost like they're wearing snowshoes on all 4 feet, which is a pretty smart thing. Oh, kind of like Ranger Julie here.
Yeah.
How are those snowshoes working out for you?
Pretty good. I'm staying on top of the snow really well.
Yeah, seems like it. So, it's like having snowshoes on all 4 feet for the lynx. And really, I mean, we travel by snowshoe all the time.
Oh, totally.
You kind of need something, whether it's snowshoes or skis or snowboard or something to travel around, because if we didn't, we would get stuck in the snow too, right?
I'd get stuck immediately.
And that's like a lot of work. Oh no, Ranger Julie. Oh dear.
Julie's down.
Are you okay?
I took off my snowshoes and now
I'm stuck in the snow.
Oh no.
Wow.
Do you need help?
Yeah, can you give me a hand?
You can do it. Oh, do it. Oh, she's out. Okay.
Right, there you go.
I mean, that's so exhausting. That's so much work when you get stuck in the snow like that. Yeah. So animals definitely have to think about that as well. So anyway, we've just learned about 2 animals that change where they live. And they can choose to live on top of the snow like the lynx or underneath the snow like the pocket gopher. So think to yourself, would you rather be an animal living on top of the snow or underneath the snow? There's pros and cons to both. So just think about that. I wonder what they would choose.
Which one would you choose, Ranger Kristen?
I've seen the advantages of being underneath the snow. It's warm and toasty under there, like a little snow cave.
So true.
I would miss the sun, but I think that's what I would do.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think it'd be a little dark down underneath the snow, so I think I'll stay above the snow and maybe just grow weird fur beneath my fingers.
Cool. Like a werewolf.
Whatever works. Okay. So we found a way to live with all this snow. But now it's time to think about what you're going to eat in the wintertime. How you're going to get food.
Nice.
So why not just run to the grocery store?
Logically.
That's what us humans do. We skip around with our baskets, getting, nice quinoa or cereal, some pasta for dinner.
Great.
That sounds great. But if you're an animal and you're here in the wintertime, just imagine you get to the grocery store and there are bare shelves. There's 0 boxes of food, not even a can of soup. There's dust on the shelves. There's nothing left. It's all empty.
That would be rough.
That would be rough. Hey, Ranger Julie, the shelves are empty. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I think I might have to change what I eat.
Huh.
Yeah.
What a novel idea.
That makes
Changing
sense.
the way you eat.
No.
So this is actually exactly what animals have to do in the wintertime. If there's no food left around you, you got barren shelves, you have to change what you eat.
Yeah.
So one animal that does this and kind of has a hard time is actually the moose. So in the summertime, remember that picture of Snow Desk in the summer? There's lots of green grasses and leaves and things like that, all available. It's like a buffet. And so they can eat their favorite food, yummy green leaves, all summer long. But in the wintertime, as you can see, a lot of the trees are barren, not that much grass. So they actually have to make a hard change and eat what's left, which are the dry, brittle twigs and branches. which, doesn't exactly seem that enticing. So I don't know. Maybe we can make a comparison to some human foods. So let's see. Ranger Kristen, what did you have for breakfast?
I had cereal.
Oh, what kind of cereal?
It was Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
great choices. Great choices. All right, so let's pretend that it's the summertime and you get to eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch all summer long. It's your favorite cereal. It's amazing.
Sounds great.
How's that Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Ranger Julie?
It's actually one of my favorite cereals.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, so you're eating it all summer long. It's wonderful. And all of a sudden, it starts to get cold. It starts to get dark. It starts to snow.
Yeah.
You realize it's summertime and all of your wintertime. Wintertime. Well, that's how seasons work. It's wintertime and all of your Cinnamon Toast Crunch has run out.
No.
Not even a crumb.
Not even a crumb.
Ranger Julie, what are you going to do?
Well, I ran out of all of my cereal, and now all I have is a box.
Yeah.
But I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
So maybe,
are you just going to eat
that? She's not going to eat the box.
Oh, that's...
She just ate the box.
How's that cardboard tasting?
It's not Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but it's something.
Oh, wow. That's really sad.
That is very sad. Very tragic. But that's actually what happens to our moose friends is, they're kind of just left with the trees and the tree branches and twigs. So it's kind of the equivalent of eating cardboard. Not really that nutritious, not really that delicious, but something to fill their stomachs. So, what are you going to do?
Wow.
Yeah, pretty sad. But let's transition to talking about an animal that actually loves winter, because winter means it can eat its favorite food.
Ooh.
So I am thinking of the wolverine. If you viewers out there have seen a wolverine before, they're these lovely creatures. They're very fierce, kind of stout animals, and they're pretty vicious too. So they actually love wintertime because that means they get to feast on their favorite food, which is,
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Frozen dead animals.
Oh, okay.
I know. Well, I said that they were ferocious. So they're really talented. They have a really good sense of smell. They can actually smell a frozen dead animal up to 7 feet below the snow.
That's like this much snow.
It's like if you stack 2 snow desks on top of each other and
could still smell.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
impressive.
Kind of like I think Ranger Julie is using her sense of smell to maybe dig for some animals.
Doing some digging.
Okay, well, let us know if you find anything. Great. So it's kind of like having a snack from nature's freezer. So, Ranger Kristen, what's your favorite snack from the freezer?
I do love popsicles.
Oh, yeah. Popsicles are lovely. Yeah, a summertime treat mostly, but
Okay. Yeah.
I love popsicles too. I also like ice cream, but a wolverine's favorite snack from the freezer might be a frozen moosicle.
Moosicle?
Or a bighorn sheepsicle. Oh, God.
Oh, what did you find?
This is what I was smelling.
I think
like,
oh boy.
She's eating
so
it.
tasty. Do you want some?
No, I'm okay.
Nope. Now I can smell it. I don't want to eat it.
Oh, but it's so tasty, fresh out of nature's freezer.
Well,
to each their own.
Second. I'm just gonna hope that you don't submit that as a new flavor to Ben and Jerry's or Haagen-Dazs. I don't think they'll go for it.
No,
but that's okay. Great, good for the wolverine. Another animal that actually has they're pretty smart about what they eat in wintertime is the American pika.
Ooh,
so a pika, not too familiar, many people aren't too familiar with pikas, but they are super cute. They're like a tiny wild hamster. So
they live in the mountains.
Yeah, look at that. So they live high up in the mountains in rocky talus slopes, and they work really hard all summer in order to save up enough food so that they can last through the wintertime. So while you're at the beach having fun, playing some beach volleyball, eating some popsicles, this pika is like up in the mountains working away, gathering its favorite food, leaves and dry grasses, in order to store away for the wintertime.
Look, Julia has some flowers.
Yeah, do you want some?
I'm okay for now.
Yeah, maybe
Is that your favorite food?
Yeah, it's my favorite food.
Oh, okay. Well, Ranger Julie, as you can see around us, it's wintertime. What are you going to do for food?
Well, that's a good question, because the ground is covered with snow, so there aren't very many flowers growing around.
No.
True.
And I think this is the last of it.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, what are you going to do with it?
Oh, I do have a backpack.
Yeah?
Maybe, I know. I'm gonna save it for later. I'm not that hungry right now. I just had a musical, so
Wow.
I think I'm gonna save this for later. Take it with me, and when I get hungry, I know where to look.
Wow.
Oh, that's smart. She's
a lot of
storing it for later.
self-control.
Yeah, right.
So admirable. Great. So to be clear, pikas don't actually own tiny backpacks. They also don't have
So
tiny.
cute.
They also don't have tiny planners to plan ahead, but they do plan ahead in their own way. They actually set out all their leaves and grasses on rocks, and they let the sun dry them out so that it doesn't get moldy all winter long.
So smart.
And they stack them up in a giant haystack. We call them a haystack because it kind of looks like a haystack. And there's a picture right there. And those haystacks from that tiny, tiny animal can actually be 4 feet tall as well. So just imagine a snow desk tall pile of grasses.
From that tiny little animal.
Yeah, so many snacks all winter long. He's set.
Cute and industrious.
Very industrious indeed. Great. So awesome. So we've learned about how animals change what they eat. So maybe viewers out there, you can think of a way that you would like to change or adapt for wintertime. Would you rather plan ahead like the pika and save your food for later? Would you rather be like a wolverine and eat frozen dead animals? Or would you rather just have to eat dry twigs and branches like the moose?
Some interesting options there.
Very interesting options. Which one are you going to go with, Ranger Kristen?
I mean, the Wolverine, while a moosicle sounds sort of disgusting,
Yeah.
they clearly really like it. So I think it'd be pretty cool to be a Wolverine.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about you?
I like the idea of having like your favorite food at your disposal in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I might go with the Wolverine too.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds awesome.
Cool.
So we've covered the ways that animals change how they look. They change where they live. They change what they eat. And before we start to wrap up here, I just want to remind our viewers that we have some ways for you to submit questions to us. So
Many ways.
in a little bit, we'll wrap up Snow Desk broadcast here, and you can certainly submit some questions in these different ways using hashtag SnowDesk2017 or just comment on our post on Facebook. We'd love to ask or answer some questions at the end here. So go ahead and start submitting those questions. So we've discovered some pretty amazing adaptations for the animals here in Grand Teton National Park. And although these seasonal changes, they happen all the time, right? That's a natural part of the process here in Grand Teton National Park. We as park rangers want to protect this place from changing too much, right? We want to protect it from the unnatural changes because we want these special places to be here forever for you to come visit. So I want you to take a moment and think to yourself about some changes here, some maybe human-caused changes that could happen here in Grand Teton National Park that would be dangerous or harmful for these animals of Grand Teton. Can you think of any examples?
Oh boy. I mean, habitat loss.
Yeah.
You know, if we started building parking lots and more buildings than we need, I think that would take away from some critical habitat for our wildlife here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Habitat is really important. I'm thinking of things like air and water pollution. That's something that we kind of have to protect the park from. And to some extent, you know, that happens outside of the park boundaries too. So, you know, we can control what happens in the park to some degree, but we can't always change what's going on, you know, on the bigger scale all around us. So
it's all interconnected.
Exactly. So we could go on and on. And
we could be here all day.
Exactly. So protecting national parks is a big job, and we work really hard to do that. But sometimes our work is not hard enough. Sometimes we need help. We need help. We actually think it's up to the owners of national parks to help protect them. I wonder if anyone there knows who the owners of national parks are. Actually, if you all there could get out your thumb and point it right back to yourself. Great news. You are an owner of national parks. Your classmates own national parks. Your friends, your teacher, your neighbors, your bus driver, your librarian. Everybody owns national parks. Your parents, your grandparents. And here's a weird thing to think about. Your kids and then your grandkids, maybe even.
Ranger Kristen, I bet we have a bunch of students watching.
Yeah.
They're really young. They probably don't have kids yet.
Oh, well, yeah. I know. I'm talking about like future generations that maybe don't even exist yet.
Oh, right. Because we preserve and protect national parks for current and future generations.
That's right. Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So it belongs to all of us, and so it's up to all of us to help protect them. So we challenge you and your family and your teacher to talk more about how to protect national parks like Grand Teton National Park or national parks near you, because as we said, there's more than 400 of these special places all across the country where you can learn about nature, the environment, culture, history. So there's some amazing places to explore, but also they need our help. They need help protecting and for people to learn about them and visit them and find out more. So we challenge you to do some research, take a field trip, go there with your family. Here's a fun thing to do. Any of these national parks will have a junior ranger program. You can become a junior ranger.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a super fun thing to do.
So parks up there.
I know there's hundreds of them. Who knew there were that many across the United States? So get out there and find your park. And this all makes me think of the book by Dr. Seuss called The Lorax. Do you know that one?
I do. I love that book.
Yeah, the Lorax says something really cool. The Lorax says, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So we hope that you care a whole awful lot about Grand Teton National Park and other national parks near you. And we thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast of Snow Desk. I'm just going to take a second to see if our tech rangers have any questions that have been submitted from students across the country, and we'd like to answer them.
Ooh. What is our favorite animal?
Yeah.
That is excellent. Kristen, would you like to start?
Oh, sure. I can start. I think my favorite animal, I mean, there's so many to choose from here. It's hard. But if I were to choose, I think I would pick the gray wolf. Because it's an animal that you don't necessarily find in many places across the country anymore. So it's kind of special that we have that here in Grand Teton National Park. And they're very wild and sometimes kind of rare, so you don't get to see them very often. So I get super excited when I get to see them. We actually have, I believe, a fur of a wolf, a gray wolf, that we can show you here. Gray wolves, that's like the name of the species. And as you can see, this wolf is actually mostly kind of gray. But here in Grand Teton, they can come in a few different colors. We have white ones, gray ones, and black ones. And you can imagine that fur keeps them very warm in the winter. They have huge feet and really sharp claws, so they're really good at running through the snow with that. And they work together as a pack to hunt animals. So winter in some ways can be a time where they can find food more easily because of their hunting skills, and some animals are kind of struggling. So they can find those animals to eat. So I get really excited about the chances to see gray wolves here.
Oh yeah, they're awesome animals. Gray wolves are one of my favorite, but I think my number one top favorite animal in Grand Teton National Park has to be the bison. I mentioned it earlier, but I just think they're so majestic. They're very iconic. We even have one on the arrowheads that we wear, which is pretty neat. And I mean, I think they're really talented. They can jump 6 feet high.
That huge animal.
Yeah.
That's
so amazing. I've seen them, they'll actually jump over fences. They'll kind of have a running start and then kind of ease up right before they get to it and then like hop over, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're just really beautiful. I could watch bison for hours probably.
They are really cool to watch.
They're awesome animals.
Also very unique to this area. So yeah, that's a good one. I wonder if we have more questions.
Yeah. Ooh, how do you become a park ranger? That is an excellent question. The first thing I would say is stay in school, kids.
It's true.
I think most park rangers have at least a college degree, which is really wonderful because college is a great place and it prepares you for a lot of different, exposes you to a lot of different subjects, ideas, things like that. And it really gets you ready, I think, for work as an interpretive or education ranger. So us, for example, we teach about a wide variety of things. I majored in anthropology, so the study of people, and also history. So that's helped me. But I'm also interested in science and wildlife and things like that. So just being interested in a bunch of different things. You can be a biology major. I think Julie, what did you major in college?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I did environmental science and geology, so more science-y.
Geology.
But I'm also interested in people and human activity. So, yeah.
Great. Major Kristen, what did you major in college?
My major was in natural resources and environmental interpretation.
Oh my gosh. You're perfect for this job.
I know. It turns out
So you were made for
I
this.
kind of at that point knew what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can kind of study what you would like to do in the park service, I guess. But another way to become a park ranger is to just start volunteering.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to your local national park or green space and say, hey, I want to help pick up trash for 2 hours on the weekend. Or I want to, you know, help teach school children. So you can start volunteering. You can get internships during college or in high school. And then you just start either, you know, racking up years of study or racking up years of experience, and you can become a park ranger. It's a pretty fun thing to do.
It is a really fun thing to do. And there's lots of different types of park rangers too. We have some rangers on staff who focus completely on the science and just studying maybe the geology or an animal or a plant or something in the park. We have others that are focused on our museum collection and the history of the park. We have people who have to do our budget and our accounting. We have people who have to enforce the laws and do kind of the police work in the park. So there's all different types of ways to be a park ranger. We're just kind of one example of a type of park ranger.
Yeah, totally. If you want to learn more about different types of park rangers, we'll be coming out with a program about ranger careers.
Yes.
So email us if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, is the desk actually made out of snow? Well, this snow does not lie.
It is.
We actually have a time-lapse video of how this desk was made.
Yeah.
We can prove to you it's full
It's
snow.
for real. You can
snow.
see. So this video is something that took the course of, as you can see, many people over about a day. This was actually us building the snow desk last year. But you can see we kind of have to pile it all, shovel it from one spot, make a big pile of snow. And then we eventually start to carve it and shape it into the shape of a desk. Then sometimes we let it sit overnight and really freeze hard and then come back and do some more sculpting. But there's quite a few of us that work on it, and it takes a day or two to do. But yeah, you better believe it's made out of snow.
Yeah.
That took 2 days.
About.
I thought it took a minute and 30 seconds. You're just running around really fast, right?
We're speedy.
So that's
Speedy
what I
rangers. Awesome. Okay, great. I think that completes our list of questions. Those were some great ones. Thanks for submitting those. And we thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast of Snow Desk in Grand Teton National Park. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.